I just did the best pitch of my life so far, and in my notes afterwards, these were the 18 things that I wrote down that I'd done right. You probably know quite a few of them. There might be a couple in there that might help you and your sales team make more sales. Let's get into it. I'm Alex North Rule. I do digital marketing and content production. More on that later. This is split into 3 sections, which is before the pitch, during the pitch, and after the pitch. Before the pitch. So before I turned up, I text my client, I text and I said, "What coffee do you want?" He didn't reply because it was quite close to the meeting. I just took a punt and I went and bought a latte. So I actually bought 2 coffees because I didn't know if he takes milk or if he doesn't take milk. So I bought a latte and a black coffee, and I would just have the one that they didn't want. So it doesn't matter. I like both. What this is from Robert Cialdini, I hope I said his name right, the book Influence, and it's reciprocity. So I've taken something in. I've stepped forward with a small gift. You should have seen his face. When I took the coffee in, he even looked. It was from the coffee shop round the corner. He even looked. He said, "Oh, I really love Forno. They do great coffee." Just set the meeting off on such a good standing. Number 2 is smell nice. Not too much. Smell is a huge part of sales psychology. If you go in and you've sprayed so much stuff on you that you're a walking perfume shop, it's actually a bit overpowering in a meeting. But a little bit goes a long way, and it just adds something a little bit extra. It's a nice thing in the room. Trim your nails. This sounds so obvious, right? But if you have nice clean nails, you can be a lot more visual with your hands. You can be a lot more confident when you're talking. And talking with your hands means you come across a lot more confident and with a lot more conviction. Have price options. Okay, so if you have one price on your presentation, the actual thing in your prospect's brain is a yes or a no. But if you have multiple options, so on this particular deck that I had 3 options, 3 packaging. That means the choice is between the 3 rather than a yes or a no to the one package. And you can easily do this no matter what you're selling, because you just either add additional things or you take things away. And in that way you get your 3 price options. We're the same. I have a video on my YouTube where I talk about, can you sell in shorts? I was seeing a lawyer, and this lawyer, when I went in to first ask for the meeting, he was wearing a suit. And I can imagine he was going to wear a suit in the meeting. What you don't want to do is turn up massively overdressed. You also don't want to turn up massively underdressed. And so I went in a suit today. But if the person that you're talking to and that you're pitching usually wears shorts and a t-shirt, you can also wear shorts and a t-shirt. It doesn't really matter. Just match what the prospect is wearing. Take examples. You've heard the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Well, I was selling content production, and what I'd done is I'd taken one of his videos and I'd done the special secret thing that is what he would actually pay for, and I took an example. That meant it was black and white difference between what he'd already produced and what I could produce for him. And having that example that I could show after I'd done my initial presentation, I said, "Oh look, I've already made one, here it is. Here's the end result." That was so good. His eyes lit up when I showed him that, and it really did the selling on my behalf. Or a bit of it. The rest of it was the talking that I was doing. Don't compromise on price. If you lower the price because the conversation or the topic of price comes up, "Oh, it's a bit expensive." Yes, it is expensive. That's because it's valuable. If the topic of price comes up, do not lower the price in the meeting because it lowers the value of the service. And what you're actually saying there is, "Oh, I could have overcharged you," or "I am trying to overcharge you. Yeah, I can take a bit of that off. Don't worry about that." If you're going to change the price, change the terms instead. So you can either say, okay, instead of paying it all up front, you can do half up front, half later. Or even split it even further and say, right, we can do weekly terms. Or you don't really want to do this in the meeting, which is to remove things. But you could look at the packages that you've got and you could say, okay, well, which one of these things in this package is the most important to you? All right, it's the 100 questions that I produce, or it's the actual video editing that I would produce. That's the most important. All right, Well, we won't do the scheduling. I'll just produce the videos and send them to you. You can do the scheduling, and for that price, we can do this. So do not discount the thing that you're offering. Change the terms instead. I got this from Alex Hormozy. Do not change the price because it lowers the value. Smile more. It's super contagious. I was sat opposite him. I'm quite a smiley person anyway, and I'm very confident in what I'm selling, and so I can add humor into the conversation. I also fully believe in what I'm selling. And what I noticed today is when I would smile, he was obviously sat there, he was quite, rigid, and I'd smile and I'd just see the corners of his mouth crack a bit when I cracked a smile. It's very contagious. You don't want this sales presentation to be a battle. You want the prospect to be on your side. Smiling is a great way to connect. Who do you smile with? You smile with your friends. You smile when you're having a good time. So if I'm sat there having a good time and I can smile, it's contagious, and my prospect is smiling, then they're having a good time. And who do you buy from? You buy from people you like. Talk with conviction. Do you think Morpheus would have convinced Neo to leave the Matrix if Morpheus did not talk with absolute 100% certainty? He's there telling Neo your whole world is a lie. And if he'd been even slightly like, oh yeah, so we got this Matrix thing that we're trying to get you out of, you want to go for it? If he didn't talk with conviction, Neo would have been a wage slave forever. You've got to talk with conviction, and the way that you talk with conviction is by believing in what you're selling. That's on the next point as well. Deliver the price confidently. There's going to be a time in the presentation where you've got to talk about price. And yes, there's a markup on your services because you're adding value. But that markup is in relation to the value that you're adding, right? That's how it should be. You have to deliver your price confidently, because if there's even a waver in your voice, the prospect's going to know, and they're going to smell a rat, and they're going to think you're overcharging. If you don't believe in the value of what you're selling, do not sell it. Change and sell something else that is actually valuable in your own mind. Shut up after the close. This is really fun to do, and it's super awkward the first few times that you do it, but it adds weight behind what you're doing. This is not sales scammy. This is you delivering the line in whatever way you do, but the basic question is, are you ready to buy? And then you just stop talking and you wait for their response. If the silence is long, you stay silent. Whoever speaks last is the winner of this particular exchange, even if the prospect says no. Because what you're actually saying there in that very moment is, are you ready to buy? I'm confident you're going to say yes. I'm so confident it's your turn to speak now. You're the one that's got to say no. If the silence extends beyond where you're comfortable and you go, oh, okay, well, how about this? You've lost the frame, and it's pretty much an uphill battle from then. You may as well say, thank you very much, see you later, right? Take notes. Anyone that knows me or has spent any amount of time with me knows I carry a notebook around with me at all times. And when I'm in a meeting, I don't take notes on my phone, I don't take notes on the computer, I don't try and remember everything. I take copious notes in the book with a pen and paper. There's a few reasons for this. Number one, it's very flattering to have notes taken of what you're saying, especially if the prospect is talking to you and they're actually going into the business, which is what you want. You want to learn more and more about their business. If you take notes, they're going to think, wow, this guy's really paying attention to me, and actually what I'm saying is valuable. The second reason that you want to take notes is because when you come to the after sales process or the follow-ups, the notes that you've taken is the gold mine for actually finding out what else you need to do to close the deal. So take copious notes in a book. Do not do it on your phone. If you're on your phone, they can't see what you're doing. The book is right there on the table in front of you. They can see what you're writing down. Sometimes I'll write something down and the prospect will say to me, oh yeah, also this, and this. They're just feeding you the information that you need in order to close them. It's also valuable information. If you're sat there on your phone, they don't know if you're texting your mum, they don't know if you're scrolling Facebook. It's really it really takes the conversation away from that person. This is something that you are engaged with directly with the prospect. And if you have a phone in the middle, there's a barrier. If the notebook is on the table and the pen is there, there is no barrier between the two of you. If anything, it's a link. Use what you hear. This was so fun in this meeting. Just before we sat down together, I heard my prospect on the phone with someone else. It sounded like he was having a conversation with one of his clients. And what he said on the phone to the client was, in business, sometimes you've got to take risks. Well, later in the conversation, after a close and after the price element was brought up, one of the things I said to him was, I heard you on the phone earlier. In business, sometimes you've got to take risks. So use what you hear. As soon as you walk into the prospect's office or wherever you're meeting them, you need to be on full attention. Do not let a single thing pass you by. Be completely aware. Do they have awards up on the wall that you can comment on? Have they said something to their employee? Do they have a particular way of speaking that you like the look of? Compliments work, but just listening and being aware of what they're actually saying means that you might be able to use that as in your favor to swing the deal. What's next? Circle back around. So a lot of the times in my previous pitches that I've done, I've gone for the close and then I've thought, oh, okay, they didn't go for it, fine. I'll try again next time we follow up. And I said, okay, thank you very much, see you later. What I did this time, and in the last few sales that I've done, is I've circled back around. I've gone for the close, and when it didn't work, instead of standing up and saying, goodbye, thanks so much for your time, never see you again, I've circled back around. So I've gone back to a point they brought up before, and one of them was how much time it took to make the content. So I've circled back around, and I said, okay, so if you were to make this yourself, how long would it take you? And I know your hourly price because it's on your website. It's £300 an hour. Okay, so if it's going to take you half an hour per day to do this, how much is that going to cost you at the end of the month? And I've circled back around onto a different point. The only way you can really do this is if you're either very quick on your feet or you know your product inside and out. So I have both, and so I was able to circle back around and go in for another close when I thought that the timing was right. Just because they say no at that particular moment doesn't mean the meeting is over. It's only if they say, all right, it's time to go, or if you notice, actually, yeah, it's time to go. But just circle back around. Get them to say yes. This is used by a lot of scam sellers, and the reason that they use it, they've got a method or they've got a thought that if you get the prospect to say yes 7 times, then they're in the bag. I don't think that's how it works. I use these questions to make sure that me and the prospect are actually on the same page. So this particular deal that I was trying to do is for a very high quality set of social media content. And so I would ask questions like, do you know that Facebook has over 3 billion accounts on it? And they'd say, oh yeah, I did know that. Da 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 da. And so you just get the prospect to say yes, and you just use it to make sure that you're on the same page. After the pitch, right? So what did I do right when I actually left? Okay. Send immediately. Speed is uncommon and very professional. So after I left the meeting, the prospect said to me, please could you send me this sales presentation? And I said, absolutely, it will be with you within an hour. And what I did is I left the meeting and I immediately went to the next place I could get my laptop out, which was a coffee shop, and I sent the presentation straight away. So within 10 minutes of me leaving the meeting, the piece of information that the prospect had asked, actually client, had asked, was in their email inbox. Speed is so professional, and yet most people, when you actually look at how they're operating, it's, yep, no worries, I'll send that to you. And they may not send it that day. It may be the next day that they actually send the information through. Or they have to be chased by the prospect. Text as well. This was really good. So sometimes your emails might go to spam. And if the prospect has asked for some information and you send it, it doesn't matter how fast you are, if it's gone into spam, most people do not check their spam folders unless prompted, right? And so in the mind of your prospect, if your email for some reason has gone to spam, on that point, if you want me to check if your emails are going to spam and check your email delivery, send me a message. I can do that for you. But in the mind of the prospect, if it's in spam, you haven't sent it. So you haven't done what they've asked. And that is a very bad red flag for them. They're probably not going to buy from you if they think you can't deliver on what you're promising, right? So what I did, and I finished this meeting about 10 past 12. Yeah. And if you see down at the bottom of the WhatsApp, at 20 past 12, I sent a text saying, "Hi Sam, thank you for your time. It was an excellent conversation." So I've given a little compliment that's genuine because it was a great conversation, obviously. I have sent the presentation through to your email. That means I'm specifically telling, I know my WhatsApps get through to him because he's replied to me on WhatsApp. I've sent the presentation through to your email. That means he now knows I've actually done what I've said I'm going to do. And if the email is not in his main inbox for whatever reason, he can go and then check his spam folders, right? But I haven't specifically said go and check your spam folder. I've just said I've sent this. Looking forward to talking to you again. Alex Northrall, which is me, by the way. Be patient. Needy isn't sexy, right? If he had said no in the meeting and I'd gone away and I'd immediately started texting like, "Oh, well, what if I reduce the price by this?" Or I'd sent the information and then in about 3 hours time, I'd sent him another thing saying, "Oh, what do you think of the presentation?" Or "Have you had any second thoughts?" Or "Do you want to actually go for this for a different price?" That's not good sales. You don't want to pressure someone. You want to be making sure that they feel confident. If you've ever been romantically interested in someone and then suddenly they're all over you, probably you've been put off by them and your romantic interest has died away. Needy isn't sexy, so just be patient. The pitch is one piece of the puzzle. So if you don't get a yes in the pitch, like I have many times, that's fine. The pitch is one piece of the puzzle. And it starts in the middle. So your actual first step is the very first introduction you've had with the prospect. Once you get to the pitch, that's one piece of the puzzle. And even if you close them in that pitch, it doesn't mean the game is over. You've now got to do your best after sales service. It's customer service. How are you going to follow up with them? How are you as a salesman going to make sure that they are getting the right level of service and getting what they need from the company that you work for or the company that you own? The pitch is just one piece of the puzzle. Thank you so much for watching. Those are the 18 things that I did right in that pitch. And if you've got another 30 seconds, I'm just going to go through a new business idea that I'm currently working on, a new service. So as I said, I'm Alex Northrall. You can find me at Alex Northrall on all platforms. If you want my website, alexnorthrall.com, or my business website is northrall.com. And I want to tell you about 100 questions. This is my new way of growing a company on social media, and it's a really valuable service. So if you've got 30 seconds, I'll tell you all about it. Every business can be broken down into 100 questions. I'm a very curious individual, and I've asked hundreds of thousands of questions from people. But every business can be broken down into 100 questions. And those questions can fit into 4 areas. It's what you do, it's who you do it for, it's why you do it, and why a customer should trust you. And if you answer these questions, your customers will buy. And where do you answer these questions? You answer these questions on social media. You give so much value for free that it's almost impossible for your customer not to think about you when they are ready to buy. What do we do about this? So, if you struggle to get consistent social media, or you don't know what to do with scheduling, or it's taking up too much of your time to produce social media, what I will do is I will come to your business, explore it with you, put myself in the mind of a customer. I will come up with 100 questions, 100 very detailed, valuable questions that your customers would ask, and then I will sit there with you, and over the course of 3 or 4 hours, I will film 100 short videos with you. So I'll prompt you, and we'll go through how do you enunciate, How do you set up the right background? What should you wear? I have all the microphones, I have a very good camera, and I have all of the ideas. We'll come and we'll film 100 videos. After that, your effort in this is done. What I will then do is I will take those 100 videos and I will edit them, and I will add captions to them, and I will make them look beautiful on social media. We then schedule them. So we release 3 posts a day on every platform. So that's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's LinkedIn, that's TikTok, and that's YouTube. So for every 1 video that you record, that's actually going out to 5 platforms. And it's going out 3 times a day. So you are very consistently touching the potential customers that you want to reach. Social media has changed. It's no longer like email, where you had to have thousands of followers to reach a certain percentage of your followers. The algorithms have changed, and it's now interest media, where you can post a video on a completely new account, and because of these algorithms, it will get shown to the exact people that need or want to see the video, even if they've never heard of you before. And if you look at what everyone's doing, if you've been on public transport, every single person is staring at their phone. The attention is no longer on your website. The attention is on social media. And so your business, regardless of how you feel about it, needs to be on social media. So once we've done the filming day with you, we'll take the videos, we'll edit them beautifully, we will add captions, and we will post them into a scheduler. And every single day, 3 posts of yours goes up on all platforms. We will then look at the results, and we will come back to you for next month's filming with a refined list of questions based on which of the questions got the best results for you. Customer interaction and appointment scheduling. If your videos do well, you're going to have too many inquiries. And what we can then do is we can be the ones that interact with your customers. So you can get on with the thing that you normally do, and we will sit as a bridge in the middle. And we will filter out the negative responses. We will filter out the bad customer, or the people that you don't really want to work with. And we will schedule appointments with you with the most interested and the most valuable customers that come through on your social media, that have watched your videos, which are familiar with you, and that want to work with you. If you want to do that with us, just send me a message. Send me a message saying, hey, this 100 questions idea sounds good, and I would love to talk to you about this. Thanks so much for watching my video. I'm Alex North Rule. You can find me on all platforms as Alex North Rule. See you later.